Sometimes in life, you have to choose a shape that represents you. So for example, you might be a square guy, but your uncle is a circle guy. And then your uncle's best friend's fiance is into hexagons. You have to choose a shape that represents you. Now, what shape represents me? The triangle, okay? That is a crazy logo to be making on the internet. People are going to think I'm part of... Anyways, I am part of the triangle group. What do I mean? I mean this. This is what we're talking about. And I feel like I'm always sat repeating myself, talking about this special, unique triangle at Juventus. And if Juventus want to have themselves a successful Serie A campaign, a successful Champions League campaign, if they want to achieve things that they haven't achieved in a very long time, that triangle is what's going to decide them games. That triangle. And I'm going to break it down to you guys detail by detail. Now, we've just seen Juventus beat Borussia Dortmund. It's impressive. I don't think Juventus played amazing. To be fair, I don't really think it was the best of games. It was quite slow. But you have to bear in mind the competition. One, Borussia Dortmund's Bundesliga campaign starts next week. That was their full strength 11. And they were playing at home. So for Juventus to go into it and beat them at home soil, it's impressive. But I feel like that triangle will be the saving grace for somebody like Igor Tudors. And funnily enough, it wasn't the saving grace for somebody like Thiago Motta. But let me explain. So let's start off with the Brothers of Destruction. I'm not talking about Kane and Undertaker from the WWE. In Arabic, we call it Wa Ain. Yeah, WWE. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about Kenan Yildiz, Cambiaso. Whoo! Them two, amazing. Amazing. But then when you add in somebody like Thuram, it gets even better. Let's talk triangles. I've mentioned this before during the Club World Cup. And I also mentioned it in Juventus' last preseason game. These three together on the pitch make Juventus 10 times better. Why? Is it because they're all physically gifted? Yes, but not really. Is it because they're all technically gifted? Yes, but not really. Is it because they're smart? Yes. Bro, in football, if you've got smart footballers, they make the difficult look easy. Like, they make it look effortless. Let's look at this first goal, yeah? This was the goal that Cambiaso scored from Kalulu's cross. But let's look at it in build-up. Whenever they have the ball and they're playing out at the back, they always know, form the triangle. Now, it could be narrow, it could be wide. As long as we're in close proximity to one another, we can always bounce the ball. It becomes like a ping pong table. It just goes left, right, forward, backwards. Them three are close to one another. Look at it. Kenan dropping deep, Thuram out wide on the left, Cambiaso. Okay, now they progress play. Look at how they swap positions with one another. Like I've mentioned before, positional rotations in football. Now I don't think Juventus have like mastered it to the highest level, but you could see there's still some elements of it where Thuram now knows Kenan has tucked inside, Cambiaso is behind him. That means they've occupied the central space in midfield. If I was to go there, then you've just got too many bodies in midfield when, in reality, you need to stretch the pitch. Look at how Thuram says, okay, for the next 2 minutes, I'm going to play as a left winger. I'm going to go on the left-hand side. I might not receive the ball, but I'm doing this to drag Borussia Dortmund, to maintain that width on the pitch. Cambiaso is now playing behind Kenan Yildiz, who usually plays in that position, Thuram. So you could see, they all just swapped positions for the sake of getting the ball forwards. This is what we call positional rotation. And this is like, you tend to see this a lot at like the top teams. Like, for example, the top coaches like Pep Guardiola and those type of managers where they just want players to constantly interchange with one another. It keeps the opposition guessing and it allows you a variety of different ways to beat the opposition press. But anyways, Juventus, they carry the ball. Eventually the cross comes in. Cambiaso, ridiculous finish. It was actually a ridiculous finish, but at the same time, it was a ridiculous cross by somebody like Kalulu. If you go back and watch any of my Club World Cup reactions to Juventus, I always told you, this triangle, they chop and change with one another. They play with one another. They understand one another. And I've seen as we're talking about understanding, let's look at Cambiaso's second goal, because this is what we call Brothers of Destruction. Them two, and I told you guys, it could be the saving grace for somebody like Tudor, because them three on the pitch will win Tudor a lot of matches. Those three, when they weren't on the pitch, They cost Juventus a lot of matches, and they also cost Thiago Motta his job, because I believe Thiago Motta's last match, like against Fiorentina, I don't think Kenan didn't play, Cambiaso didn't play, Thuram didn't play when Juventus got knocked out of the Champions League. Thuram came off the bench, Cambiaso came off the bench. These three, you build your team around these three players. This is just a simple goal. Kenan gets the ball, he holds it up, he waits for the underlap. Feed the underlap. He literally fed Cambiaso, and Cambiaso puts it into the back of the net. If Cambiaso can go into the Serie A campaign in this form, you guys could genuinely look at him as a brand new signing. Now, what do I mean by a brand new signing? Last season, in my opinion, I feel like Cambiaso had a good start to the season, but then he really faded away, and then he was out of the picture, and then the Manchester City rumours came into it. Motta never favoured him. He came back into the team under Tudor, but it was like too little, too late. If Cambiaso can become a wing back that you look at and say, he can get us about 5 goals, 5, 6 assists. So that's what? In total, 11, 12 goals. That's the equivalent of a brand new signing. Juventus getting themselves a player that can get them 12 goal contributions from wing back, and then you've got Kenan Yildiz ahead of him. It's all about spreading the goals. Yeah, that's what it is. I feel like last season, the problem that Juventus had a lot was the fact that the goals weren't spread. So whenever, like, let's just say you're busy and you couldn't watch the game and you found out Juventus won 2-0, you could always guess who scored. Like, oh, it was probably Vlahovic, it was probably a penalty. Oh, under Tudor's reign, it was probably Kenan Yildiz. Juventus need to spread out the goals. They need to spread out the impact. Cambiaso, 2 goals today. A chance created. He's on set pieces. If he can keep this up going into the Serie A, that left-hand side will be one of the most penetrative left-hand sides in the Serie A. Period. Okay? The Brothers of Destruction. Remember that. Okay? Now, secondly, from a tactical aspect, I saw something which was a little bit interesting to me, in my opinion. Now, I feel like I definitely need to monitor this going into the Atalanta game, because I'm like, I want to see, maybe it was just a one-off. I need to see if it's an actual pattern of play or if it's just something that happened today. Juventus, when it came to playing out of the back, they didn't play out of the back in a back 3, which is what we all are accustomed to, where you've got Kelly, Bremer, and Kalulu. No. When Juventus were playing out of the back, you can see they turned into the 4-2-3-1. Now, how did they do this? This is where the inclusion of somebody like João Mario is very important. Now, I can't turn around and tell you guys I'm a massive fan of that signing. I feel like the context around it always makes it better. But he had himself a very, very, very good game. The thing about him is, in this 4-2-3-1, how does it transform itself? They set up in the 3-5-2. They set up in the 3-4-3. As soon as the Juventus want to play out of the back, look at it. It changes. Conceição. Now, it all depends on which side of the pitch they're looking to play out of the back from. So, for example, if it's on the right-hand side, João Mario pushes up. Conceição tucks inside. If it's down the left-hand side, Cambiaso pushes up. Kenan Yildiz tucks inside. So, it all depends on which side of the field they're trying to play out of the back. And maybe this is why it helps, the fact that João Mario is a right winger by trade that's also now being forced to play as a wing-back. Like, that's where he's more... That's his more natural position now. But on paper, by trade, he's an actual right winger. Cambiaso, in my opinion, there were even periods on the Thiago Motta where he was playing as a left winger. This allows Juventus to, one, rather than have 3 players in build-up, now they've got themselves a flat 4 in build-up. So they've got themselves an extra body in build-up. I don't know what it is. It was just a pattern, and I felt like it definitely helped Juventus because it now meant Locatelli doesn't have to always drop deep into the back 3 to help them play out of the back. You guys have now got yourself an extra option in defense. 4 of you must be able to play out of the back, and they did. But having said all of that, Bremer, I don't know if he's injured or not. I feel like the fact that Bremer is coming back from an ACL, players that come back from an ACL do not hit the ground running, and I feel like you definitely have to watch their minutes. I don't know what it is with Bremer, if he's injured or if he's not, but Juventus really need to get their hands on... Like, in the beginning, I was being cheeky, okay? In the beginning, I was being cheeky, and I was like, you know what? Juventus need to get themselves 2! Numero uno. No, numero uno is 1. Wahed thnain. Juventus need to get themselves 2 defenders. I'm a humble guy. Like, alhamdulillah, I'm a humble guy. Get me one. Just get me one. Get one defender. One defender, and it changes this team. One extra defender in this team is the difference between getting 3 points and getting an extra 12 points. I kid you not. If Juventus get their hands on another defender, when the Serie A campaigns, I'm going to sit down and tell you guys which game that defender made a difference and got Juventus points, which they wouldn't have gotten if they didn't sign a defender. Just go out and get 1-2 defenders. And this team transforms from a tactical level, from a performance level, from a player development and player growth level. Just go out and get defenders. Hashtag, where are the defenders? But anyways, it was a good performance. Juventus secured themselves another preseason win. All eyes on Atalanta. I feel like that will be the big test. Like, go out, play full intensity, prepare yourself for the Serie A campaign. We'll see what we learn from that. But anyways, if you're new, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. And I will catch you guys on another one.